Hi, I've got to make this video about how to deal with apostasy. The policy that I'm taking is based on a lot of Bible verses that command us to warn and then walk away from apostate people. An apostate believer is still saved, but he is carnal. He is not using 1 John 1:9. And you can prove that real quickly in yourself or somebody else. Because when you become carnal, you can't read the Word of God properly. I mean, it becomes really, the longer you're carnal, the more obvious it is. If you've been carnal for a long time, you can't even read pronouns. You can't even read to whom a verse is addressed. You never look at context. You take things out of context. And you make really stupid mistakes in reading the Word of God. Okay, and the translators of the Word of God have largely been carnal. All right, they make really stupid mistakes, and the same thing is true for most of the pastors. The same thing is true for most believers. So it's a scary thing, and anytime you see somebody else screwing it up, you should immediately think, uh-oh, where am I doing the same thing? Okay, so that's the thing about apostasy, is they become incompetent at reading and explaining the Word of God. The other thing that the carnal person, especially if he's been carnal for a long time, starts to do is he starts stressing what you do works. Okay? Whenever you see a believer say, faith without works is dead, that person's carnal. Period. Because James' letter is on how the Word works. The word pistis, which is translated faith in James, means the word believed. It doesn't mean your faith. It's talking about the Word in you. Are you believing the Word you already have? Alright, and the same thing is true in the book of Hebrews and most of the New Testament. Alright, so anybody saying, faith without works is dead and you're not doing any work, so therefore you're not saved, that person's carnal. And the big key that you know, even if you didn't know the Greek that I just told you, alright, and I did a whole playlist on James, so you can go look that up. Even if you didn't know that, the person is doing what? Looking at you. Telling you what you should do. So then he's looking at you, not God. You got it? If a person is stressing what you should do, and he's stressing something you do with this dead in Adam body. This body is dead when it's born, and it's dead after it's born. Okay? It's just mindless corpuscles. There's nothing. It goes back to the dust. If he's stressing what you do with this, then he's carnal, because he's looking at this. See? If I'm looking at my hand and telling my hand that anything this hand can do is holy, that's a big lie. So I'm carnal, aren't I? Alright, so apostate Christians are carnal. They cannot read the Word of God, and they stress this thing. You're dead in Adam body, what you do with it. And they read everything in the Bible with this in mind, with their dead in Adam body. Okay? So the way you have to handle them is you have to walk away. At least in your mind. Not necessarily, physically. Because, we can't leave the whole world. Okay? So how do you do that? Well, you can do Titus 3:10. And you can do other verses. Titus 3:10 says, warn them twice and walk away. There are other verses that say just ignore them. Avoid them. That's 1 Timothy 3:5. There are verses telling you that these people are really bad. That's Philippians 3:18 and 19 calls saved people enemies of the cross. Jude 12 calls them twice dead, meaning that they got saved and now they're carnal. 2 John 2:9 through 11 says don't even let them in your house. That's pretty severe. And all 1 John is written against those people. 1 John chapter 2, they were part of us, but now they're not part of us, meaning that they're legalistic, they're apostate. And he first introduced that subject in 1 John 1:6. So there's a lot about avoiding apostate people. 2 Peter just flew into my mind. The second half of 2 Peter calls them dogs returning to their vomit. Not nice terms. So you can't be nice to them. You can be silent. You can cut yourself off in your mind from them. You can warn them twice and walk away. And that's what I'm trying to do in the comments. When you see me be mean, that's why. So I thought you might want to know.